We got all the sports canceled. Guess we playing in brand new sport. So today, even though I know it's late and the clan is not easily recognized, I want to make my Spike Brothers deck profile. I've been testing it for the last few months. I've had friends like my friend Drain the Joker, Chang on Twitter, and some other friends I know help me test the profile. And I think this is the best build for Spike Brothers right now and standard. It's not going to be everyone's preferred build. It's just more preferred for me. But I hope everyone tries it and likes it. Plus, I really liked his G artwork. I don't really like the V artwork now as much, but it still does the same thing as the original G artwork, where it shows like power and bravery in a sense, where you can just emanate the aura of strength and charisma coming from Rising Nova. That's one thing I really liked about his G deck. It was pretty fun to watch, but I never got around to playing it. I just stuck around to other decks like Night Rose or Machining. So I'm glad to have him now as a Spike Brothers main. So anyway, let's get on with the profile. So starting off, we have 4 copies of the Vanguard, Exceptional Expertise, Rising Nova. So his first skill is on place. You actually get both Force 1 and Force 2 markers when you ride him, which means that you need to make this guy your ride target at every opportunity. If you ride onto another different grade 3, you have to choose then between the Force 1 and Force 2. So make sure riding him is your top priority every game. That way you can generate double the Force markers as you usually do. Then the second skill comes into play as he is Soul Blast 1 to choose up to 2 of your grade 3 rear guards. And this unit gets the abilities of all those units until end of turn at the hard once per turn. Spike Brothers had a big issue right now that it has a lot of great grade 3 Vanguards, but you really only can use them on the Vanguard circle. Rising Nova takes that issue and just lets you copy them 2 at once. So for example, you can copy 2 Dead Heat Bull Spikes, you can copy 2 Spiking Cyclones, 2 General Cyphreeds, any combination of that in numbers of 2, or you can take 1 Cyphreed and 1 Dead Heat and put them on Rising Nova. This card lets you do a lot more shenanigans and have like about 5 to 6 abilities per turn on your Vanguard. Either multi-attacking, force marker regeneration, or just retiring and draw, or just power and soul gain. This card's gonna be the backbone of the deck for a long time, and I'm not sure how Bush is gonna top this, but it's just so good. So the second grade 3 of the deck, and the reason why this deck costs more than $30, is 4 copies of Dead Heat Bull Spike. Bull Spike's first skill is that when your unit attacks any unit on your field, you can Soul Blast 1 to move all the force markers to that unit circle. Combined with Rising Nova now, when copied, this can move a Force 1 and Force 2 marker, making a 10k boost and critical on any attack on your front row. Then, the second skill, which is a once per turn, but can be copied twice by Rising Nova, is that when the unit on a circle with a force marker does not hit, you can draw a card and retire one of your opponent's rear guards, our choice. So this is really good because, again, retire and draw options are good. We -1 from your opponent's 4, +1 to our own hand. But also, since it's copied twice by Rising Nova, you can retire 2, draw 2. And that's really good for right now because we have a good board clearing and draw gain that we need in the deck because we're very huge reliant. We need 2 grade 3s on the field at all times, and so getting more draw power and being more piece reliant, pushing more instead of destroying their board instead of destroying their Vanguard is sometimes more important. The final grade 3 of the deck is Spiking Cyclone. Spiking Cyclone is pretty simple. It continues on Vanguard circle. This unit gets plus 5k for each force marker in their circle. Rising Nova makes 2, so that's a plus 10k on your Vanguard. Then when it attacks on Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 to choose one of your rear guards and stand it. We're getting multi-attack into Spike Brothers, as well as the ability to generate more power thanks to our force markers. We generate 2 a turn, and we move force markers around. So even if we run out of Skull Blast to move force markers, our Rising Nova copying Spiking Cyclone can always have a 10k boost thanks to our first ride, 20k to our second ride, and so forth and so forth. Next, the multi-attacking potential can also be copied twice. So you can copy 2 of Spiking Cyclones, give them to Rising Nova, and then counterblast 2, stand either column or the front row. Really good ability right here. That's why I only run 2 in the deck because the counterblast is not that needed anymore. We have some options to counterblast, but we also need the force marker moving and the retiring from Dudley Bull Spike more. So the main grade 2 in the deck is Adorbs Perm Rona. I said that so slow because I hate the name. So the first skill of Rona is that when placed, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3, call to rear guard and shuffle your deck. This is used with Bull Spike and Spiking Cyclone, as you can make them into 13k attackers on second ride, or you can get their pieces a lot online when you run into Rising Nova. Call Rona, counterblast 1, search for either one, and that way Rising Nova can copy their abilities. I recommend either keeping it in the front row if you're thinking about attacking earlier, or keeping the grade 3 in the back row, so that way when Rising Nova comes onto the field, you won't have it will still be available unless they have retire abilities. The second ability of Rena is that when you have a grade 3 unit in the same column as this unit, this card gets boost. Rona is a 10K, so it's a 10K booster to all grade free rear guards. And since the grade free is going to be a vanilla without any abilities online due to it being on rear guard circle, Rona does a really good job to make it a 23K attacker. And then with the force marker moving from Bull Spike and any force generation that Rising Nova can make, that's going to be either a 33K 2 crit monster or any more higher monsters. This is good as a 10K booster. The second grade 2 of the deck is a classic High Speed Bracky. High Speed Bracky, one of the first Spike Weather cards. When placed, gets power plus 10K. This is either from hand or viability, so it's a 20K attacker at the start every time you call it. Then at the beginning of your main phase, so the turn after, you can put this unit into your soul to search your deck for up to 1 High Speed Bracky, call to rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So it's always a 20K attacker. Combined with Deadheat Bull Spike, that's a 30K 2 crit attacker. Combined with Spiking Cyclone, that's a 30 crit 2 crit attacker that can restand. And then at the start of your turn, around main phase, you can put it back into the soul and get another spike, get another Bracky, which gets that 10K from the first ability. This is needed because the deck with both Rising Nova and Deadheat Bull Spike use a ton of soul. Either 3 a turn or 4 a turn via Bull Spike, and then the 1 for copying the ability of the grade 3. So you're going to need a bunch of units that either can both go into the soul themselves and then attack, so that way you can always keep your advantage going. And the final grade 2 of the deck is 3 copies of Breach Spurt. Breach Spurt's first ability allows you, when you attack the Vanguard, to put a normal unit on the bottom of your deck. Then your opponent's units must intercept as much as possible, even from back row. And then at the end of the battle that Breach Spurt attacks, you can put him into the soul to draw a card. Breach Spurt drawing a card is nice and important. Putting him into the soul to get more attacks for Rising Nova copying Bull Spike is important. And taking out their interceptors so that way we can keep back into multi-attacking with Spiking Cyclone is also important. You're going to not put any force markers on him because he's just a 9K attacker. Get rid of him as soon as possible so you can just get rid of your opponent's intercepts. At 9K, they're going to lose some guard potential from their rear guards. And in the Axel matchups, that's a lot of intercepts that are just having to happen at once. I run it at 3 because it's not as important. It still gives you soul, like Bracky, but then they give you any other resources, and also because your grade 3 are the main attackers, this is more situational, and you don't want to ride into it. Now onto the grade 1s, we have 4 copies of Wonder Boy. So Wonder Boy, when placed by either effect or by hand, you can put a non-grade 1 unit from your drop zone on the bottom of your deck, and this unit gets plus 5K until the end of the turn. 13K booster, 15K attacker, really nice to have, and it recycles perfect guards, triggers, and all that jazz. At the beginning of your main phase though, so basically the same timing as Bracky, you can put this unit into the soul to search out another Wonder Boy, call it to rear guard, and shuffle your deck. That'll activate the first ability, which lets you recycle another trigger and get 13K. This is needed because we really need the soul in this deck because of our abilities. So having this card be a booster for our Vanguard or our rear guards and still be able to recycle triggers for trigger checks is still imperative to have. Run them at 4, you always need them. One of our 2 grade 1 ride targets is Ambush Dexter. Ambush Dexter, when placed either on Vanguard Circle, you can discard a card from your hand and draw a card. You can use this with your starter, since that always draws you a card, and a quick shield take it if you're on your second turn, to draw 2 cards and then discard either a quick shield or a useless trigger to recycle with Wonder Boy or another card. Then when placed on rear guard, you can counterblast 1 and put a grade 2 or greater rear guard into your soul. Search your deck for up to 2 cards with the same grade as that card, put into the soul as cost, call them to rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So if you put in a high speed Bracky, that's a grade 2, you call grade 2s out. But the main thing is, if you're going to call you're going to put a grade 3 of the soul, like maybe Spiking Cyclone or Bull Spike, pull them into soul, and then put out 2 rear guards of the same 2 grade 3s to set up for Rising Nova's ability. This is our final counterblaster of the deck, so we have about 3 counterblasters in the deck in total. We can run out of them quickly. We don't really have a good countercharge engine, so using this whenever we need to is depending on the matchup. You use this rear guard skill when you really need to get your grade 3 online, and you don't have your hand, and you don't want to use up your hand pieces. And then the final grade 1 of the deck is 4 copies of our Searcher, Acrobat Verity. Acrobat Verity is Spike Brothers, check top 5, get a grade 3, put it into your hand. If you find 1, discard 1 on Vanguard or rear guard when placed. Again, this is because this deck can call by ability. You can actually do this either on ability timing or on hand timing. So good timing there. Then the continuous 5K skill for Verity to get the 5K is that if a rear guard was called by an ability this turn. So you have Dexter, you have Rona, you have a bunch of cards in the deck that already call by ability, and that allows you to get the 5K off when impossible. He's your main right target to set up Rising Nova because you need him in hand as soon as possible. That's it for the main deck. For our trigger lineup, we have 6 crit, 6 draw, with 4 being the draw PG, and 4 heal, One being Adelaide, because why wouldn't you? This trigger lineup is because we are always piece reliant, and because of the high power of the game. Maryland's important because, again, you can recycle a lot of things with Wonder Boy, which are grade 2s, 2s, and 3s back into the deck. So just discarding a simple thing is not as hard as you think. The extra 2 draw there is there, though, because, again, we discard a few things, we're piece reliant, so drawing some extra cards is important. And then for the final card, we need 1 Adelaide, because Adelaide is Adelaide. Why would you not run Adelaide in your Spike Bros deck? That's very rude. They've reprinted this for you. Use it! And for the starter, it doesn't matter. They're all the same damn starters. This one I picked was Running Sniper because, well, he's a running sniper, man. That's really cool. And that's it for the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really excited for Spikes in the future because now with Rising Nova, really any boss monster around it has to be balanced around him, but in a sense, you can copy 2 cards and really experiment with the deck as much as you want. There's a Dead Heat build with Spike and Cyclone, which I'm doing, but you can do with either like Dead Heat Bull Spike with General Cyphery, and that one gives you an access to a counter charge engine in exchange for multi-attacking potential. The deck is going to be really experimental for the next few months, with OverDress giving us new grade 3s, and testing the deck with other various grade 3s we have. But I feel overall it's going to be one of the best decks to play for a long time. Not in terms of competitive viability, but in terms of just fun deck building possibilities. Your grade 3 can copy 2 of the units twice. So overall, it's going to be really good to see how each combination works and how the field is going to be made. Thank you very much for watching, though. I'm really appreciative to show up on their deck profile. Thank you guys for coming, and I hope to see you guys next time.